Hello, and welcome to this talk. What is meditation and why should I try it? The content is for informational purposes only, not designed to diagnose, treat, prevent, or cure any physical, mental, or emotional disease, issue, or condition. My name's Kira Markoff. I'm a mental health therapist, psychology student, yoga and meditation teacher. We'll start with a quote about meditation from a Tibetan Buddhist. The act of meditation is being spacious. So often it's easy for us to feel cramped and small, like we just are inside of a tiny box and we can't get out. Meditation is having space and having room to be free. Marcus Aurelius, from a completely different time and place, says, "Nowhere can a man find a quieter and more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." We'll start with just some definitions and some research evidence on meditation. Unfortunately, in Western academia, there's not really a whole lot of agreement on what meditation is. Is it something we do? Is it a state that we achieve, being in meditation or doing meditation? And unfortunately, they're confused because traditionally it's talked about in both of those different ways. They've done studies on it, and it's clear that there's a lot of benefits to meditation, but haven't really been able to really define what it is, which, Western academics do not really like that. They like to be able to define things really clearly. So the practice that we did was a mini meditation. And did it feel like something you were doing? Did you notice a different state for how you were feeling? Maybe yes and maybe no. There are two different formal styles of meditation. One is concentrative, which is where you have an actual object for your meditation. So in the one that we just did, there were two. You focused on your breath, right? The in breath and the out breath, and there was a sensory component because you were watching something. So sensory could be listening, watching, tasting, touching, or smelling. Breath is just kind of noticing your in breaths and your out breaths in whatever way. And a mantra is just a word or a phrase that you might repeat. So you'll hear sometimes people say, meditate on these words. And so that could be where you actively repeat it over and over to yourself, or just kind of where you ideate on the meaning or reflect on a sentence or word or passage, maybe. The other type of meditation is contemplative, and it's more what people think of when they think of meditation, where it's, I just sit there and my mind is blank and I'm empty. And that really doesn't appeal to a whole lot of people because you can't do it, right? And people say, "Oh, I tried to meditate and it doesn't work for me," or "I can't do that," or, "My thoughts don't stop." And this type of meditation um, is not it's not usually accessible. People aren't able to do it as a first-time meditator or a beginner meditator. And part of that is about expectations, right? So once you have a meditation practice, you kind of learn or you come to realize like that is not realistic. You will not get to a point where you can sit for 5, 10, 15 minutes without having a single thought. It's just not going to happen. And so you learn this cycle of meditation where you have your focus and then you get distracted and you notice that you've gotten distracted, and then you bring yourself back to whatever your focus of attention was. And so the goal of meditation is not to be able to sit for extended periods of time without getting distracted. It is to develop a skill set where you're monitoring your body and you're noticing when you get distracted or when a change comes, and you're able to gently and kindly, with compassion, redirect yourself to whatever your attention was. So we see that meditation is not evasion. It's not getting rid of something or pretending that something doesn't exist. It's having a serene encounter with what our reality truly is. So that is what meditation is. Now we'll talk about why you should practice it. The mind is definitely something that can be transformed, and meditation is a means to transform it. That is a quote by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the 14th, and the spiritual leader of Tibet. You'll see that a lot of meditation quotes do come from Buddhists, and what you might not know is that Buddhism was literally developed not as a set of religious beliefs, but as a way to help people relieve suffering. That is the goal of Buddhism and of Buddhist practices, is to relieve suffering. And there's a lot of research now on mindfulness and that it does just that. Reduces the effects of negative thoughts on mood and functioning, promotes overall well-being and emotional balance, reducing stress and reactivity. So meditation helps people shift from gut reactions, instinctual reactions, stress reactions, to being able to respond from a place of peace, calm, intention, kindness, compassion, whatever place you want to lead from. Meditation is a tool to help you access that in the moment when you need it. Improved memory, efficiency, concentration, improved functioning in the HPA axis, which if you watched my video on mind-body wellness, we talked a lot about the HPA axis and the stress response and how that really impacts all systems in the body: cardiovascular, digestive, inflammatory, immune, the whole gamut, right? And then also here in physical, we see melatonin production, so that has to do with sleep quality, and then increased blood flow in the executive functioning areas of the brain. So that's just going to just general improved brain functioning, which is thoughts, emotion regulation, all of the above. Self-compassion, thought and emotion processing, again, emotion regulation, and social functioning. So one of my areas is looking at the effects of mindfulness meditation on romantic partner relationships. More on that to come in a different video. The quieter you become, the more you are able to hear. Rumi. So why do we meditate? Because it is both enjoyable to do, it's enjoyable to sit and to relax and to breathe, and because it's good for us in all of those different ways. If you'd like to learn more, you'd like to try out some guided meditations, you can find me at www.connectionsmindbody.com or my email address there. Feel free to reach out. Thanks so much.